aspect goes. Not all of us can be 100% of the time. Hopefully we are close to that most of the time, but if one guy's having a bad day, the other three can pick up his work. So that appealed to me. As far as, handling emergency calls, you learned as each call went on how much you could handle. And it got to be a challenge of, well, I handled this pretty good. Give me something I can handle. And to me, that never happened. I always felt that based on the number of people, the amount of money, and the number of equipment that we had on the scene, we could handle anything. And we had to. There was never, in my job, it's a can-do job. There is never a time where any of us ever said, boy, we can't do this, we got to turn around and go home. That is never an option. It's a can-do job. Every challenge had an outcome. Some positive, some not so positive. But we handled everything. There was never, and that probably taught me the most, was you're going to do the job no matter what. You're not going home and you're not quitting.
And do you feel like, as for yourself, you're a pretty big risk taker within your job, or do you have subordinates that are the risk takers and will do the things that someone else may not want to do, but they want to get up there and do it right away?
Sure. Some people, I don't know if the risk taking is the right job. The whole job is somewhat risky, but yeah, you'll always have people that want to do things first or want to, be the first to handle the call. Just like, in class, who wants to be the first to give a speech? Some people say, I'll be last. And some people go, I want to be first to get it over with. There's the same thing in the fire service. There's a lot of people that said, yeah, I want to do this first. I want to get it over with. Some people would say, maybe if I hold back from doing it, they'll skip me. So you'll always have that in any aspect of life.
What did you feel was like your best way of strengthening your relationship as you were a subordinate to a lieutenant with your superiors and your higher ranking?
Just to accomplish the tasks that were given to you in a good way. Just doing a good job, would make you look favorably from your superiors. That's about it. Doing your job both on the emergency scene and at the firehouse.
Okay, I'm gonna finish up with two more questions with you. These are gonna be more or less leading towards risk. Have you ever taken a really important risk for the team? And if so, can you discuss the outcomes of taking that risk? And I guess that would be what we talked about a little bit earlier with you deciding to take retirement early.
Well, let me state, I understand kind of what you're saying. First of all, like I said, the whole job is risky. So there's an inherent risk in the job just by taking it. So you know that. There's times when things are a little risky, but based on your knowledge and your experience and your skill, you feel no matter how risky it is, you should be able to handle it with a positive outcome. And that's how I felt most of the time. I felt that we knew, me as the leader and the team knew, based on our experience, as to whether or not we could handle this. I don't think risk even came into it at all, because everything we did had some risk involved to it. So I think we were pretty confident in what we could do. Were risks taken? Absolutely. We were in positions that most people shouldn't be in dealing with it. Fires, electricity, water, drownings. There were inherent risk in everything we did, but because we trained on it and drilled on it and learned on how to handle it properly, I think most of us have pretty high confidence levels.
Okay. And the last question I'm going to ask you is, through networking with other fire departments in the area and even with the police department, did you find any challenging tasks between that and the job that was at hand, or did everyone work together, or were the leaders of the teams assigned to work together, collaborate, or were they just instructing their crews on what to do and handle the task at hand?
As far as working with others, we had to work with others quite often. Every time we went on an emergency call, usually a squad car was assigned to us. So we also had to deal with police, and police have their own issues that concern them. They're concerned about traffic control, they're concerned about a lot of other things that we're not concerned about. So yeah, there might be some confrontations where they want us to move rigs around to make their traffic control easier, where we don't want to move rigs around because they're in positions that make our jobs easier. So there might be some confrontations in that regard. Also, working with other towns, the rig I was on went mutual aid to a variety of towns. Whenever another town needed help, chances are we sent a rig, and chances are it was the one I was on. So you had to deal with other towns. Do I know people by names from other towns? No. Do I know them by sight? Sure I do. Based on how well they're doing on a job, or what kind of day they have, they might not work real well with you that particular day. So yeah, those were challenges, but like I said, most importantly, all of us wanted to get the task done and over with, and have a positive outcome. So those things were kind of overlooked. If you had a real problem with somebody, you might call their station afterwards and say, hey, listen, you know, I didn't appreciate the way you guys treated our crew, or I didn't appreciate the way you guys handled the situation. That was a very rare incident. So.
Well, thank you for your time. It was really nice to meet you.
Just a joy to be here.